who are taking such terrible steps, fraudulent steps, and damaging consumer confidence.
Today, food officials continue to reassure that there is no safety risk in the contaminated meat.
It's the responsibility of anybody producing food to make sure they produce it safely and legally. We're there to make sure...
It's failed, hasn't it? We've got lumps of horse getting into mainstream foods. It's failed.
Well, it's completely unacceptable that these companies have allowed that to happen. What we are doing is identifying...
Why did you allow it to happen?
What we are doing is making sure we find out exactly how this happened, and if people have done things that are illegal, then we will hold them to account. But our investigations are ongoing at this time.
Tonight it's clear one ingredient increasingly missing from our food chain is trust. Chris Choi, ITV News.
Well, today's developments highlight the complexity of unravelling just where our food comes from and what goes into it. Comegel, a French company, supplied the finished product to Findus and Aldi, but they were made at another company it owns in Luxembourg. From there, Damon Green reports.
It was here that horse meat, bought, sold and labelled as beef, was turned into the products that were put on our shelves. Where that horse meat came from still isn't clear. What is clear is that this factory in Luxembourg is just one link in a long and complex chain of supply.
De la viande de cheval retrouvée dans des produits censés contenir du bœuf.
It's a scandal now in France too, with beef products that it turns out aren't beef now being withdrawn from sale, and eyes turning to the food firm at the centre of the supply. Comegel is a frozen food specialist with headquarters in Metz in eastern France, but its food is made for Findus, amongst others, by another firm it owns called Tavala, 50 miles away, in Luxembourg. Established since 1976, it now employs around 200 people and has an annual revenue of something like £50 million, exporting to 16 countries, including the UK, Germany and Scandinavia. In Sweden, as in Britain and France, their products are coming off the shelves. ITV News spoke today to the official who inspected the factory in Luxembourg. He says the horse meat arrived incorrectly labelled, but even if the labelling is the problem, everyone, suppliers and producers, needs to bear their share of the responsibility. Tonight, it seems, nobody wants to be blamed for what happened. The company in France, which owns the company which runs this facility in Luxembourg where those contaminated products were made, has issued a statement. It says it's identified the supplier of that horse meat and that horse meat is no longer used by Tavala. It also says that meat never posed a threat to human health. Now, as it's reported that the French supplier to the Luxembourg factory bought its meat from Romania, some consumers will be wondering who else is involved. Damon Green, ITV News in Luxembourg.
And our science editor, Lawrence McGinty, joins us now. Lawrence, that really is the point, isn't it? How can you properly regulate a food chain that is so complex?
Well, I think this affair now, Mark, has all the hallmarks of a full-blown scandal. Scotland Yard called in, talk of a criminal conspiracy, the Prime Minister saying it's very shocking. And one reason for that, there's no doubt, is the complexity of the modern food industry. The burgers you buy, the lasagna you buy, is made in another country, ingredients from yet another country. There's no way individual consumers can know what's in the food they're buying. And I think that makes the role of the regulators, the Food Standards Agency, all the more crucial. Now, they say this isn't an issue about food safety, and they may well be right. But if you can't trust what's in